And we have a special guest to start the show, the man of Soccoa Media, Joseph Soccoa. How are you, Joe?
Hey guys, what's going on? Glad to be here on your podcast.
Yes, we're very happy to have you, and we have some very exciting news for you hockey fans. The 24 playoff format has been approved, and it's good to go. They're just going to need to cross some T's, dot some I's, and we should see this playoff format going. So, Dev, I'll let you go first. What are your thoughts on the playoff format?
You know, it's interesting. I know I've touched upon this over the past few episodes, in that the NHL is always aggressive. I love as much hate as Bettman gets. He's always on the ball. He wants to get going. He was the first league to officially announce something. It's creating a lot of buzz. It's what the NHL needs. It's what the NHL wants. And they had to get creative here. And in typical NHL fashion, they definitely did, especially with the draft lottery. For me, there was no surprise in the 2014 playoff and the matchups there. The two hub cities, I like the concept here. There are a lot more hub cities up for debate out in the West than the East. The East, it's between Pittsburgh, Columbus, and Toronto. And out West, you got a bunch. You got Chicago, Dallas, LA, Vegas, Minneapolis, and Vancouver and Edmonton too. But the NHL has said, listen, we had to get this out of the way. This is the most important thing to do. You got to get the format first, and then you have to figure out the actual logistics as far as testing and where the players are going to stay and how many people are allowed at ice level and scrums, all that good stuff.
Now, let me ask you this, because, Joe, you're a Rangers fan. Dev, you're a Devils fan. So, Dev, the Devils just missed this 2014 playoff. So are you kind of like, damn it, they missed, I'm not going to see him play now? Or are you kind of like, well, guess what, we're in the final seven for the top lotto spot?
It's tough. I'm interested to see Joe's take, too, but I think I'm right in the middle. I mean, obviously, Lou, you've known me for a long time. I'm a diehard Devs fan for my entire life, and I just want to see them play. So I don't know if I'm kind of pissed that they're not in because I'm not going to get to see them play, or I'm happy because they're in the lottery, because the season was shot. But it pulls at the heartstrings when the Devils have played two less games than the Habs and the Canadiens. And if they had won their last game against the Penguins, the Devils that is, even if they won that one game, they would have been in the playoffs. The 2014 bracket, I should say. So it kind of is tough there, but I'm fine with the lottery. I don't expect them to win, but Lord knows they've won 2 of the past 3. But as long as they get top 7, I'm fine with it. This is it's a big year for them with the draft.
And Joe, us Rags fans taking on the Canes in the first matchup, 11 versus 6. Excited or what?
Yeah, listen, first and foremost, I think the overall feeling is excitement because we're finally getting closer to getting some sort of sports back. So I think anybody is going to take anything at this point. I was excited just to see the golf match the other day. And I love golf, don't get me wrong, but just to get some live sports back on has been a treasure. Look, I'll play the bias part first. If you're a Rangers fan, which I am, I think it's fantastic because the New York Rangers are entering this playoff or this play-in against the Carolina Hurricanes, playing with house money essentially. I went into the season with not very high expectations of making the playoffs, but having high expectations that this team might surprise some people and that they're a young team and, they put some great pieces together to do so. And then we saw them go on a bit of a run right before the pause happened where they were making a run at a playoff spot.
It feels like the Jazz 5-goal game was in 2018.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like that long ago. So, it's certainly exciting. And listen, we all know this from any type of sport, and especially when it comes to hockey. You get into the playoffs, anything can happen. You ride a hot goalie, anything can happen. So I'm excited. I think the matchup absolutely favors the Rangers. Listen, will we take it a little bit for granted? Do we smell a little blood in the water? Absolutely, because we find out that the Carolina Hurricanes were one of just 2 teams that voted against this format because they felt that given the fact where they were, they feel as if that it took a little bit of the advantage away from them, that they could have maybe been higher had they continued to play out the season. So, is it, and you see the Ranger fans' reaction on social media, are they scared of the Rangers? And listen, the Rangers swept them in the season series 4-0. So,
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the Rangers did beat them 4 times this season. They went 4-0 against them. And Zibanejad and Panarin had fantastic games. And the other thing is, I look at it, the Rangers are coming into this healthy. Prior to this pause happening, the Rangers were on that roll, and then they had a couple of hiccups. They had the Shesterkin car accident, the broken foot for Chris Kreider. So listen, I'm excited. And then from a non-Ranger, I gotta be partial, guys. I gotta be down the middle, as when you're being on a podcast and talking as a sports guy. I gotta be a little partial down the middle. I think it's just overall exciting because the NHL playoffs, as we know, are an exciting event. And it's, in my opinion, the most beautiful trophy to go out there and win. So you think that the playoffs were exciting before this format came out? Now I think it adds a little bit more excitement with these play-in games.
Exactly. Well, Joe, let me piggyback off of you because you made some awesome points. Personally, I obviously I hate the Rangers with all my might, but just like you, I got to be down the middle. I'm a hockey fan too. The Rangers, there is not a better team in the league that makes out better with this format than the New York Rangers. I think a lot of people would agree with that too. They're a team that not a lot of people want to face. They're going to be argued. They're going to have all their pieces healthy. They're going to have Kreider back, which is going to be huge for them after the broken foot, like you said. Maybe Panarin was a little banged up. It didn't seem like it. He's my vote for the Hart right now still. Zibanejad, all these guys, everybody across the league that's going to be in the 2014 format, they're going to be healthy. So you're not going to be coming into the playoffs, and you're really not going to hear stories of, for example, JVR was playing with a torn meniscus all playoffs. You're not going to hear that. So the play is going to be, everyone's going to hit the ground running. They're going to go for the cup. And there's 24 teams, double the amount of teams. Well, not double. You're going to have, eight more teams in the playoffs than you usually would. And the Rangers, they get a free pass. If they win, they advance. If they lose, they still have 2 first-round picks. It's unbelievable, and they still have a chance, I hope not, to win the lottery. Very interesting.
Well, look, you're right in the fact that the Rangers can hit the ground running. They have quite a few options. The other thing is, don't forget, they are second in the league as far as the youngest teams in the league. I believe Columbus is slightly ahead of them at number 1. The Rangers are the second youngest team in the league behind Columbus. So you'd have to think in a restart like this that a younger team might have a little bit of an edge out of the gate as opposed to some of those seasoned teams, And I think this is where it might be a little bit tougher for those top-heavy teams, the Tampa Bay Lightnings and the Boston Bruins. So, yeah, absolutely. I think the Rangers, as I mentioned before, are playing with house money. They can go in this, they can win this first round, move on, and they can 100% make a run for the cup. Listen, I told Lou the other night, my bet has resurrected. I bet the Rangers to win the cup before the season, just, because, listen, I'm a fan. I got to bet them no matter what. And the fact that they're plus 6,600 to win, I'm sitting pretty if they win. So, it's anybody's game here. And this is where it's truly, you look at it, if we go back to March 12th, that's when the pause happened, and they were able to finish out this season, you probably saw those top teams, like who could really make that run to the cup. Tampa Bay looked like that they were unbeatable again. Boston looked like that they were a heavy favorite. Now, I feel as if all these teams, regardless of where they are, whether they're playing those qualifying games or whether they're sitting at the top 4, I really believe that the Stanley Cup is up for grabs from any one of these 24 teams, and the Rangers are no different here.
Absolutely, and I'll be completely honest with you. The Rangers are a team I would not want to face, which obviously the Canes are feeling the same way, which is why they... was the other team Pittsburgh? Was that confirmed? I know Letang said something. I know there were 2 teams that voted against
it. Tampa Bay was actually the second team that
right.
voted no.
Yes, yeah. So both of them. But, the Canes are going to have their hands full, like you said. The Rangers are 4-0 against them. I'm hoping my man, Sammy Vatanen, the former Devil, obviously, that the Devils traded to the Canes in February. Maybe he'll bolster up that defense a little bit, give them a little command on the power play. He's going to be healthy coming off a broken foot himself. Maybe that's what the Canes need, but that's going to be a very good series, a very good series. If I had to pick now, I would probably pick the Rangers in 5. No such thing as home ice, but that is going to be a dogfight. 2 teams.
Listen, it's going to be a grueling. It's going to be a grueling playoffs, no matter what. I mean, even though these guys have been off the ice for quite some time, and we know that there have probably been some players keeping themselves in shape, keeping themselves, as game ready as possible. But it's still if you think about it, the way that this is going to roll out. I mean, Gary Bettman said today when he laid out this whole plan that they envision that this qualifying round of these teams playing in could get done in less than a month. Now, you're talking a lot of hockey. You have to assume they're going to try to follow the same format in regards to play a game, day off, where they'll be playing every other day. They might have to, just for time constraints, they might have to do back-to-backs. But again, at the same time, if you're only talking about 2 hub cities and possibly playing on maybe 1 or 2 surfaces of ice, you're literally going to have games possibly starting at, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the 11 o'clock in the morning, 12 p.m. and going throughout the entire day. That's going to be the biggest and most interesting logistical part of this process is how they schedule these games and how they, play it at a time. I think the difference is, now, if you really want to get, and I'm not going to go into the boring details on the TV side of things, but look, you're going to get the ratings no matter what because it's live sports. And this is where the National Hockey League is going to cash in. Yeah, they are going to cash in big time here, and I think good for them. If this was an opportunity for them to cash in, if you will, on getting the ratings and possibly luring in new fans and growing this game even further, this would be huge. This is going to be huge with this format. So, I'm really curious to see, and I can't wait to see what this schedule is going to be like. We might be watching hockey from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night.
I love it. So it's like a bunch of these guys are going back in time, going to a Pee-wee tournament again. It's going to be cool. And but that's what I was saying before. Somehow the NHL is on the ball with this stuff. They always seize the opportunity. It's very similar to the Winter Classic. They saw an opportunity when they first started it. I believe it was back in 2008 when the Penguins and the Sabres played up in Buffalo. Hey, nothing's really happening that early afternoon and New Year's Day. Want to have an outdoor game, and they've been having it ever since, and the ratings are always through the roof every year. Ever since they had the Stadium Series, they've declined a little bit, but still, it's a big spectacle for them. I'm excited for the playoffs. I just want hockey back, and like you said, Joe, I mean, I can't think of anything better. I know the same thing for you. Having hockey throughout the entire day, I mean, I don't know. That's the best thing ever.
I want to speak on one thing here before we wrap up. So there is going to be there are 8 teams, correct? They're having like a play-in series best of 5. So they're going to play the first set of games where these other players are still going to be practicing and whatnot and trying to stay as game ready as possible. But I really think there's a huge, huge advantage to these play-in teams coming in that are going to have 5 real games with, referees under their belt going into these next series. So I kind of like a dark horse here, no?
But no, so the other 4 teams, the top 4 teams that are getting those buys into the first round, they're actually going to be playing competitive hockey while those playing games are happening. Yes. They're going to play for seeding purposes because there's no way they can have those teams sit around. So the plan is that those teams, so right now, let's just say the Eastern Conference has Boston at 1, Tampa Bay at 2, Washington at 3, and Philadelphia at 5. they're going to play each other once in a round robin to determine seeding. So let's say, like I said, Boston comes in at 1, Tampa comes in at 2. If Tampa goes 4-0 in their games, because they're going to have to play, or they're going to have to play 3 games. They're going to have to play once against Boston, once against Washington, and once against Philadelphia. If they go 3-0 and Boston goes 2-1, Tampa now becomes the number 1 seed, and Boston slides down to 2. So that's how they're going to do it.
Okay, so that is good that they will still be playing. I was going to say there's going to be a huge advantage for these playing teams then if these other guys aren't playing. I did not know that they were playing for seeding at the top of their division. So that is good that all teams will be playing, so there's not a distinct advantage for the out bracket teams, as you can say.
Yeah, very well put, Joe. And real quick, Lou, before we hop on to the next topic, I want to clear up the lottery because there's a lot of questions about the lottery, how that's going to work. Something that I'm obviously going to be watching like a hawk, too. So the odds 1 through 7, those teams are already established. The Wings, the Senators, who have a 25% chance. If they don't win, I don't know how they're not going to win. They have...
Well, the Senators have two cracks at it because they own San Jose's first-round pick, too.
Exactly. Yep. So they got both of those. Then you got the Kings, the Ducks, the Devs, and the Sabres. On the first, they're going to draw on June 26th, a month from today. If they draw, right, and any one of those 7 teams wins the lottery, that team is going to win the first overall pick and so on and so forth. However, there are going to be 8 empty slots for the teams that are in the qualifying rounds. If one of those teams wins the lottery, then there is going to be a phase 2 of the lottery that's just consisting of those 8 teams that will then be filled by the phase 2 by the time that happens, and they will be lotteried out, or whatever the term is, I should say, for that first overall pick. That's my understanding.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be complicated, so we're going to have to really kind of play that by ear.
And there's no way this draft day can stand either. They need to postpone it now, without a doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, and that was, I think, a big thing for a lot of the teams is that they want to make sure that there is still that fair advantage, when it comes to the lottery and stuff like that. I mean, the other option they could have done, but it definitely would have not gotten through the Players Union. If you go back to the lockout, after the lockout of 2004, they basically, I believe, went to the way they did it was, I guess the team that was in last place, they kind of gave, and it was just a little bit different. It wasn't as lottery-driven as it is now. I really forget how it goes. I probably should have did some research on that, and that's what Pittsburgh got the pick. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh had a better record than a team like the Rangers, and the Rangers wound up picking like 16th in that draft or whatnot. So it was a little different and complicated there, but I know that wouldn't have passed through the Players Association. So I think what they're doing here is they're making it as fair as possible. They're making it exactly the way it should be and giving the teams that are not playing the better odds like it normally would be, and then they have to determine in that phase 2, as Deb was just saying, that those teams then that get eliminated will then have to be determined for the lottery, and then it can go back to normal after the playoffs are done. But yeah, they're going to have to kick that out, and most likely they're going to have to then do the draft immediately after these playoffs are ended. And again, we can't be throwing around dates or anything like that because we just don't know. The only thing that we know that is clear, that Gary Bettman made clear this afternoon, was formal training camps with coaches on ice will happen no earlier than July 1st. So there's no shot at seeing this tournament get underway until at least the middle part of July.
Oh, that's sad.
That's
a little sad. I think that's late, man. That is late.
Yeah, I know. But
the season normally starts in late October, correct?
Yeah, which means that would push the 2020-2021 season back until at least December or January. But Gary Bettman also said that season will be played as scheduled, a full 82-game season. Listen, even if they push it back, they still have leeway because, you'll just take out the bye weeks and you'll take out the All-Star break if need be for it to end on time and start the playoffs like they regularly do. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it'll definitely be a shorter off season than we're used to, but nobody should complain there. The players shouldn't complain there because they've had the last few months off. So, these are unprecedented times we're living in, and this is where you have to think outside the box and make the best preparations.
Right, so they get going in July, and it would take until probably
maybe mid-September.
Yeah, it's going to be very long.
September.
And then the draft, free agency, everything.
And I want to make this clear too, because this is still not set in stone. Even though they put the return, they put the return to play back in motion. They're still discussing whether the first and second round after the play-ins would be best of 5 or best of 7. The only thing that is set that will be a best of 7 will be the conference finals and the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah,
those, regardless, will be best of 7.
I completely agree.
So do I.
I think those are the only 2 series that should be best of 7. I'd be for 2 of 3 in the opening rounds in these out bracket rounds. I'd be good with 2 of 3.
Whoa!
Really
I'll take best of 5. I want more hockey played.
I understand, but man, I mean, I want next
gotta
season to
get it
start
done.
as early to October as possible. I think if you
But
go
I think
from
they're worried
July
that
15th to August 15th, around then you do 1 month playoff. Just pound it out. Get next season going by November.
But
yeah,
Lou,
I mean, listen. Like I said, you're not going to have that You're not going to have that long of an offseason. Don't forget, you still have to do the draft. There's still free agency. There's still, teams want to be able to then prepare and trade and all that stuff. So you got to give that a little bit of time.
I love a good free agent frenzy. I know Jeff, you wanted to say something.
No, I was going to say that. I mean, there's nothing set in stone with this at all. They want a lot of flexibility, and Bedman's always said their main focus is finishing this year. They're not concerned about next year yet. He said they have a ton of flexibility for next year too.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully this.
We just got to stay on top of it.
Yeah,
just got to stay on top of it.
Hey, I would love for this to be a 1 month thing. Just give me hockey for the next month, every single day. It could definitely make the next month or so go by in a jiffy here.
What I'm going to love is we're going to be watching hockey on 95-degree days. That's what's going to be fantastic about this whole
That's
thing.
sick. Yep. Exactly. I'm loving it.
And did they say
Loving
no
it.
fans? Are they going to commit to no fans?
Yeah, there's not going to be any
Yeah,
fans.
they're committing to no fans.
They're even limiting possibly up to maybe 50 essential staff personnel going to these games with their team. So
right, and there's no.
they're going to keep it as
restriction
limited
stuff?
as possible.
No Canada stuff, because I know Canada has their own things. Like players were needed to be quarantined for 2 weeks in the NHL if they came to Canadian soil. Like, I think.
Well, I mean, I still think that's what the NHL is waiting for, because I think there is a couple of Canadian cities that are on that possible destination list for the hub.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we're just going to have to wait and see. That's why I think the NHL made sure they covered all their bases and said no camps until at least July 1st, because then that gives Canada in itself to get some time to do it, because I know the NHL is not going to go over what, government is saying. Just like that they said the health is the most important thing here, they're going by what health officials are going to say. That's what they're going to determine it by.
Gotcha.
Right.
Well, there you have
But
it.
I have to. But before you wrap it up, I do want to say I give a tremendous amount of credit to the league and the Players Association. Yes. Considering what has happened over the last decade or so between the league and the Players Association, I think these two parties have come a very long way. And I think that this is the next major hurdle, because I believe the CBA is up in a couple of years. So
yeah, I think it's
this is
next year.
a big thing that they're working in unison with this.
Yes, very, very good point, Joe. Thank God. I mean, this is a very good leaving off on a positive note for the NHLPA and the league.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
But,
And you led your podcast off on a positive note that we can talk about a real sport coming back.
yeah. Yeah, we can. I mean,
Yep.
KBO's out there, but we're not experts on that.
Yeah.
But Joe, I want to thank you for coming on. You know, your invitation's open anytime. This was a great segment here. So I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Yeah, Joe.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you very much, my man.
I appreciate being you on. Now I'm gonna have to reciprocate and have you guys come on my podcast as well. And
Hey, just
I
let us know.
I
We're
also
ready.
appreciate you guys. I'm glad to have you guys on the Soccoa Media app too, so that works.
Thank
There
you,
we go.
Joe.
We're excited to be on.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks,
All
Joe.
right,
You
that
too.
was Joe Soccoa. We thank him for coming on the show and giving his NHL insight. And hopefully this league could get going soon. You know, we're all excited, wanting to see live action sports. But now we transition into another sport that doesn't seem like they're getting this stuff figured out, which is Major League Baseball. Dev, sad news today. I make it more sad than encouraging here. Some sad news. The players and the players union and owners, all that got together, talked. They put in another proposal instead of doing the 82 game salary thing. They went another route and they basically made it like a tax almost. The players in the lower half of the league will give up less than the players in the upper half of the league. For example, a guy like Kyle Higashioka on the Yankees roster would only lose about 30. They're all losing half of their paycheck, but then after half their paycheck, Higashioka is only losing about $30,000. Or a guy like Garrett Cole, who's scheduled to make $18 million after the 82 game play cut, is now having to give up $10 million more. So more than half of the half, which is, he's going to be making less than 25% of his salary, the upper part of the league. But those guys are still going to be your higher paid players in baseball. So it's interesting to see if this will get passed. You're going to have the guys in the Higashiokas of the league for it, and then you're going to have the Coles and the Trouts just shake their head and go, I'm playing for less than 25% of my paycheck. So, Dev, what's up with this?
Yeah, obviously at the end of the day, Lou, it's nobody's fault. Nobody saw this coming. They're trying to figure out things on the fly. But I know we were talking earlier this morning, and that's when you said we might have some news today, and you were right from Passan. You hit that in the head, hit the nail on the head this morning. I'll give you that. But I'm nervous. I'm nervous for baseball. I don't like where this is coming. It's been way too quiet. It's May 26th. They really they would have to start the season in about a month, and they don't even have an agreement yet. This is not good. And let me pull up this tweet I just saw from Heyman. He tweeted this at 6:33 tonight, so a little over 3 hours ago. He said, "The MLB's goal is to start spring training by June 10th. So that's in 2 weeks. They want to start spring training in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So
we seem more like more than 2 weeks away.
Yeah. So this is what he said. So he said the soft deadline for a deal has been said to be June 1st, which is 6 days away. I don't know how this is possible, Lou. I don't. They seem very far apart. And from everything that we've been reading today, I know you touched upon it too. The MLBPA is kind of shocked, and they're saying, "Whoa, dude! Like, what are you giving us? What is this?"
Yeah, I mean, it is not ideal at all. We're not in an ideal situation at all. I think, Garrett Cole was supposed to make $30 million this year. How much money? 20.
Makes 7.84.
And now he's at $8 million.
Yep.
I believe
Under $8 million.
Under $8 million. Oh, it's just. I mean, yes, like these guys, they do get paid millions and things like that. But just imagine you putting in the same amount of effort, same amount of work, and your job paying you less than 25% of your salary. I know it's nothing compared to them, but there is some principle involved here where players just can't play for free. I mean, some owners are going to need to step up, and maybe you could do this with teams as well. Like, as much as the Yankees, however much money they have, and they do a great job, and rightfully so, they're one of the most wealthiest franchises. But hey, maybe the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Red Sox are going to have to take some bigger pay cuts than teams like the Marlins, who were the only team that lost money last year. So, you may have to see that with some owners too, where it's a little bit on the owners, a little bit on the players, because, we haven't really seen the owners step up quite as much as the players would like to, and maybe fans would like to as well. But just some of these guys playing for less than 25% of their salary, playing, half the season, getting less than 25% doesn't sit right.
No, it doesn't. And you made a good point. Obviously, they make a lot more money than you and I do combined, and that we will ever see in our lifetimes. That's beside the point. They're lucky to be in this position. They're blessed to be able to make this amount of money. It's their careers.
Right.
These guys work hard to obtain contracts like this. And they're not going to be, listen, I'm not going to say, I think Judge is a perfect example to me, right?
Yes.
He's
Top player in the
still
league.
eligible for arbitration, I believe, next year or after this season, one of the two. He's making millions in endorsements. His baseball salary is not over, I don't believe it's over $1 million, Lou. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it's minimal compared to what his next contract's going to be. So he's still playing for his next contract. If he plays this year and he does something further to that rib, does something to that shoulder again, that he's out for next year and his contract's up, what's his contract going to look like in 2022 compared to if he was healthy or playing a full season and had time to come back? That's what's very interesting.
Yeah, I think Judge's salary has agreed. What is this? 1 year, $8.5 million. In 2018, he only made $622,300.
Yep. Yeah.
But in his arbitration deal, he did get $8.5 million, which I believe puts him in the $10 million bracket, or I think the $10 million bracket, which would put him between 1.5 and 2.75 mil for the year.
The Yankees are saying that it works out for the owners clearly, but the players, I don't understand how a player, unless they really want to play, is like, listen, get me out there.
Yep, teams like the Yankees and Dodgers, they need to step up and do something and find another way to make this happen, because guess what? No one wins if there's no season. Absolutely no one wins if there's no season. I actually saw something from on Twitter about Yankee Stadium. They said they would hold drive-in events with movies, concerts, and car-side food delivery this summer. So they're going to try to make money, but hopefully it'll be done through baseball and not, through these drive-ins and whatever it is, concerts, whatever they plan on having. But like I said, I just think teams need to step up here and put some money in.
Yeah, and something just
players.
I know, and not to cut you off, Lou, but this will be something of interest too. I don't know if you saw this, but I'm on Twitter now, and it looks like the A's are going to stop paying their minor leaguers on May 31st at the end of this month.
So say that one more time.
The A's are going to stop. The Oakland A's are going to stop paying their minor leaguers on May 31st. So this coming Sunday, in 5 days.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's not right. I think, some minor leaguers, they should just get flat rate, whatever it is, AAA $300,000, AA $200,000, single A $100,000. I know I'm probably off on the numbers a little bit, but something in that realm.
Yeah,
something. Maybe $300,000 is probably too much, considering Higashioka is going to make two something. So even if it's $100,000, $75,000, $50,000, these kids have given up on their non-baseball careers, and they're dedicated to going out there and playing baseball. So I definitely think minor leaguers need to get some sort of compensation here.
Yeah, it's interesting enough. I mean, they don't make nearly as much as major leaguers. I believe the median salary is only like $45,000 or something like that. But the A's were giving their minor league players $400 a week. You make more at the Dairy Queen down the road a week in the summer.
You're right.
$57 a day.
Yeah. Yep.
Unbelievable.
It's sad, you know. I mean, we could just keep repeating ourselves on this, but I don't want to do that. But yeah, the MLB is not. It's really not looking too great right now. But like I said, something needs to get done because then everyone's going to miss out on money if nothing gets done. So something's got to get going here. That June 10th spring training to me feels like there's no chance. I can't see it. I mean, I can see players being able to go and use team facilities, which brings us into our next thing here. You know, Cuomo's giving the okay for New York sports to happen, and the New Jersey, you know, governor is saying, you know, we're good for sports to resume here, and Cuomo wants the Mets and Yankees in Yankee Stadium and Citi Field playing games, whether or not it's with fans or not. So. Yeah, we're all for it here in the tri-state area, getting these games going.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees. They all want something. You know, people just want real life sports instead of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch the KBO.
Yeah. Yep. Or going to sleep after the KBO.
Yeah, or that too.
Yeah. But yep. So then we got NBA camps starting to reopen, get going there. I know the Nets are opening on Tuesday. They'll be opening, so they're hoping. There's rumors leaked about them starting up in mid-July, just like the NHL. I just don't think the NBA right now is trying to figure out a format. The players want to get it going, but star players, Damian Lillard already came on and said, "I'm not playing if my team's not going to the playoffs. I'm not coming out here and playing, 10 measly games that mean absolutely nothing if I'm not going to be in the playoffs." Which is right. I mean, who would want to come out and just play 10 games for just nothing? I mean, let the playoff teams just go at that point. Like, whatever it is, just have the playoff teams ready to go and get it going.
Exactly. What you're going to play for nothing again. And guys' careers are at stake. What are you going to go and just play, obviously, for the love of the game besides that, and risk getting injured? I mean, that's why the NHL, I'm glad they didn't go and play the regular season. What the heck did the Red Wings have to play for? Just give the teams that had somewhat of a chance, relatively close to a playoff spot, let them fight for it. If anything, it'll make it more entertaining.
Couldn't agree more. So that's the NBA. We don't have really any much more news on that. But we had some NFL news this week. The Jets signed a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Dev, tell us about it.
Woo! I am pumped. So this week, yesterday, the Jets signed Super Bowl MVP, that is to you, Joe Flacco, to back up the most handsome man in New York, Sam Darnold. I love the signing. Joe Douglas is still bringing in his guys from Baltimore, not even from Philly. Flacco is a guy that gets it. He's always been a stand-up guy, a guy that understands the game. He's going to be an awesome mentor for Sam. And really, 2 out of the 3 years, Sam's had great mentors in Josh McCown and now Joe Flacco. I could not be more pumped. I've always been a big Flacco guy. I love to pick up. God forbid something happens to Sam. Obviously, Flacco can slide right in. But anytime you have a Super Bowl MVP backing you up and sitting in the same QB room as you can't go wrong. Especially at that price tag. It was for $1.5 million with a bunch of incentives that could drive it up to just a little under $5 million. But again, just before we went on the air about an hour ago, I saw that Flacco does not expect to be ready for Week 1 because of his off-season neck surgery. But regardless, I love to pick up. It's exactly what I wanted to back up Darnold for the Jets.
I think it's a great addition for the Jets here. Get a Super Bowl winning quarterback in there with Sam Darnold and let him learn from Joe as much as he can, kind of thing. And then, Joe Flacco be the starting quarterback by week 6. So I thought it's a great thing for the Jets to try to teach Sam the ways. If Sam can't learn them, then put Joe Flacco out there. Why not? One of the better backup quarterbacks in the league, than Andy Dalton right now. I really think if Sam Darnold starts to flatten out and not play well, you're going to see Joe.
Stop it.
What do you want, Joe?
Stop. It's never going to happen. I can promise you that.
I could see Flacco starting a couple games. Sam hooks up with the wrong girl again, and Joe's right back, right in there.
Yeah, fine. You're talking about in the preseason, right?
Bro, Flacco is elite.
Flacco is elite. Was at one point. Hey, listen. The fact that Sam was out for 4 weeks with mono, it gives me even more of a reason to love him. Come on. What an awesome injury.
No.
Slinging it on and off the field.
Love someone because you got mono. No, absolutely not. You're off on that one.
The man can feel.
You're off on that one.
Got game. Respect the kid. Don't be jealous, Flo.
Speaking of delusional, Dev, Dak Prescott wants upwards of $45 million per year, which will make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm going to start with this one because I saw this and just started laughing. I'm like, this guy really thinks he's worth $45+ million a year. Have you won, more than one playoff game in your career? No. Have you made the playoffs more than not? Nope. Have you won an NFC Championship game? No. Have you been to a Super Bowl? No. Then why do you deserve this much money? You've had the best offensive line in the NFL for your entire career playing. You've had the best and the linemen that you could ever ask for. You've gotten the best running back that you could pretty much ever ask for in the NFL right now. And you've had a defense that's been, middle of the road and hasn't been terrible. Have they been lights out? No. But when you have that good of an offense, you shouldn't need a defense to be that lights out. I mean, if you have an offense like that, you should be putting up near, 35 a game, 28 to 35 a game. Your defense can probably hold between 21 and 27 points. 27 is probably a little high, but, 21, 24 points a game. You couldn't take them into the NFC Championship, lead them anywhere. I haven't seen a clutch gene from him. I mean, this guy he's not worth $45 million a year. I don't think he's worth $30 million a year. I think he's right between 25 and 28. What do you think?
Lou, I think you gave him way too much leeway. I think you were too soft, honestly. Too soft, yeah. I mean, you're trying to justify, have you been to an NFC Championship game? Have you been to a Super Bowl? No. Those are all the correct things, but I just, statistically, what is it? And as a leader, when you're paying for a quarterback, you're paying for the cornerstone of your franchise. You're paying for the leader of your organization. I've never seen him exemplify leader qualities ever throughout his career. I would love to sit down with Dak Prescott in a room and say, listen, Dak, what in the hell is wrong with you? How do you think that you're worth $45 million a year? Yeah. I cannot think of one reasonable answer that could come out of him. And Dak, if you're listening to this, if you're one of our 120 listeners, call me. Please, DM me, find me on Twitter, D_Bonanno. I'm ready. DM's always open. Hit me up because I have no idea. It baffles me. I really thought it was a typo. Maybe Bleacher Report got a little dyslexic and meant not 54. I guess 45. I hope not 54, but I don't know what they thought. But 45 is just crazy. And like you said, yes, he does have the best offensive line in football, the best running back in football, great wide receivers. Everything helps him, but I don't know how he's worth $45 million. I'm just trying to find something. I can't.
Yeah, I don't see it. Dak took over in 2016?
I believe so, when Romo got hurt.
Yeah, I believe it was 2016.
I'm pulling it up now.
Yes, 2016. Yes. It was 2016. He, They led him to 13-3. That was his best season, you could say, and they lost in the divisional round. That was to lead to the Packers. Aaron Rodgers had that sweet throw to Jermichael Finley, was it? But yeah, 13-3.
Yes, it was Finley. Yep, good memory.
2017, 9-7. 2018, 10-6. Lost the divisional playoffs. Didn't make it in 2017. 2019, 8-8. Now they have the Power Football Index has the Cowboys as number 5 team in the league, coming off an 8-8 team that all they did was get rid of Jason Garrett and add Mike McCarthy. I don't think Mike McCarthy is, takes an 8-8 team and says we're a top 5 team now. You can ask Packer fans about Mike McCarthy, but I just don't. I don't see the buzz. I don't see the hype. I don't see a winner. He's never. He's never won a playoff game, unless they don't think they were a wild card. No. He's never won a playoff game. How can a guy that can't win a playoff game with an well above average offense and a middle of the road defense just lose in the playoffs? I mean, you can't. Yeah. You know what? I'm a Giant fan. I hope they give it to him. Give him $40 million a year. I mean, he'd still be the worst contract they could give out. So I'd be happy to see it. I mean, I know he's on paper, you look at it and go, oh, his completion percentage is, in the mid 60s, which is pretty good, and he doesn't turn the ball over. There's only wins. Quarterback needs to get me wins. Yes, he's never had a losing record, but that's because his team's too good to not have a losing record with all the pieces around it.
Right. Yeah, you're paying. Like I said, Lou, you made some good points. It boils down to leadership. You're paying for the quarter, and let alone you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. If the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is getting $45 million a year, it better be Roger Staubach coming back into his prime.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not on the Dak train at all. I think it'd be a huge waste of money for the Cowboys to do it. Hopefully they do, but like I said, I think it'd be a huge waste of money. Daniel Jones is worth $45 million a year before Dak is.
Yeah. I don't know about that. Keep dreaming.
Yeah, I'd rather give Daniel Jones $45 million.
Get out of here.
I mean, not Sam Darnold though. Definitely not Sam.
All right, next topic.
Definitely not Sam.
Please.
Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about here is, Dev, I'm switching up on you. I didn't tell you this, but I want to talk the golf tourney. Brady.
Oh yeah.
Brady, Mick, Tiger, Phil. I made out,
Lou
Dev.
Lou got rich this weekend.
I made a little money this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, man, yeah. So, for all, obviously, nobody else knows besides us, but I'm the Jersey resident. Lou's up in Westchester. I was back home in Jersey this weekend, and Lou hit me up with the old "you in Jersey" text, a.k.a. the "you up" text in sports betting. And, yeah, I was in Jersey. I placed a bet for him. He placed a bet on the bogey, which was a very good bet. I believe that was at plus the Eagle
at any time. Eagle at
any time. Which hit at plus 350, very good. And then he just took the money line for Peyton and Tiger, which was a shoo-in. And I did. It was a shoo-in. So those are two very good bets. That eagle was a nice eagle by Brady, by the way. I meant to text you that.
No, that Brady wasn't an eagle. That was a birdie. That's how much Brady stunk. That was a birdie shot from there.
Oh my God.
That's how poorly Brady played. He had a birdie shot from all the way back there. Phil ended up with the eagle, and I was so pumped. I was like, "That a boy, Phil."
Yep, there you go. Yeah, that was awesome on your part. And my favorite part listen, I've talked about it before. I love Brady. Aside from football and being a Pat, I love him. He's just I think he's the coolest guy ever, and he has a great sense of humor. And when he went and bent down to get his ball out of the hole, and his pants ripped right down his crack, I was cracking up. And then his tweet afterwards was so funny. He said, my pants wanted in on social distancing.
Yeah.
I'm like that's such Brady humor. I love it.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic, and just kudos to Tiger, Peyton, Brady, Phil giving us something to watch, something to pay attention to, something to win some money on, and a great way to raise money. Over $20 million raised through that match. I mean, that's why
most importantly,
if you don't understand why America is the best country in the world, is right there is why. You don't see any other countries doing things like this. Guys stepping up, and it's unbelievable. Just awesome.
No, and that's a good point, Lou. It's a great example. I mean, everybody won. They raised, most importantly, $20 million for the virus. TNT made out a ton of money. Obviously, with viewership, they had more viewers than The Last Dance average. Believe it or not, Lou, I saw that.
Did they really? And then it was on TNT.
From Rovell. Unfortunately, he tweeted it out, but I saw that from him yesterday. But I mean, this pleads to the governors and everybody else, the head people in charge, that we need sports back. Everyone's gonna win. People loved watching this on Sunday, and everyone made out.
I mean, they beat The Last Dance because they want binge watchers like you wait until it all ended. That's probably why.
Yeah, I know.
Can't
but
binge,
those
can't binge
those are
this
the
golf
smart
match.
people in the world.
Those are the people that still somehow have patience after all this.
Oh my God!
But
I'll still watch it over again. It was that good.
That was a great match. A lot of fun talk, a lot of fun banter. Charles Barkley on the mic. That was good to see. Peyton telling Brady his caddies would have been Nick Foles, his brother, or Bill Belichick if they had an option. Just great, funny stuff. Every time Peyton missed a putt, Brady going, Eli would have definitely made that one. So it was just so much fun. So much fun to watch. Just dudes playing golf, having fun, and Tiger crushed. Tiger did really freaking well.
Yeah, Tiger played very well.
On his home course, yeah. The only thing that could have been better was a nicer day. Apparently the days leading up to that were gorgeous, and then they got hit with rain. They stuck it out
pouring
like
the
champs.
whole time.
Yeah, stuck it out like champs. The carts are being auctioned off. Awesome. I thought Peyton had the best cart. Little Denver and Indianapolis logos on the side. That was pretty cool.
He's so cool.
Yeah, definitely.
He's awesome.
Great event. This was a great show. Again, thanking Joe Soccoa for coming on, talking NHL with us. And that'll pretty much wrap it up. You got anything else?
I think I'm good. Until next week, hopefully we got some positive baseball news.
Oh, yes, hopefully we'll have some positive baseball news next week. Maybe we can get NHL be set in stone when they can,
sir.
Maybe we'll have a time schedule or something that says, hey, this is definitely happening. But till then, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
See you next week. Thanks, guys.